We're going to hand it over to Bill now, who's going to give us a talk on what's up for November, December. What's in the sky?
Right.
What is in the sky, Bill? What's exciting that's coming up?
Well, hopefully there's no black holes nearby.
No black holes? No micro black holes?
Yeah, by the way, Sarah, I didn't have a question for you, but I did have an answer. The question was will we end up the same way as the dinosaurs? And the answer is no.
Why is the answer no?
Because we won't even leave bones. Right.
I don't know if that's a dad joke or not.
No, this is supposed to be threatening.
Ooh.
It's a threat. I'm
going to hand it over.
They're very effective.
Yeah?
All right. Never been very good at them. Like Slutty Bardfast.
All right, I'm going to hand it over to Bill now.
Oh. Hang on. I haven't got my laser pointer. Hang on. I've got to find it. Suddenly realise I'm naked without my laser pointer. Arrgh. Damn it. I must have left it at home. I will. I was hopefully going to use it tonight, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay, today is not Wednesday. I think the turnout shows that that's a little bit off the beaten track. But so it's the charts I'm about to produce are for the 13th of November. But we're talking about what's in the sky between late November, which that is now, and early, like mid-December 2024. So first of all, tonight we are on the lands of the Bunyurong and the Warrung people of the Kulin Nation. The Bunyurong is the people who were south of the Yarra, so you're quite correct. You were on Wurundjeri country. I'm going to be speaking about, as usual, the general conditions of this time of the year, what's in the sky, including the moon, the planets, some orientation stars, constellations, the occasional planet. Then I'm going to go through the list of suggested targets for tonight, visual and photographic, and then talk about tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., followed by a short list of things to look for this month. Ooh, what happened there? Looks okay here. You've got a... Yay. All right. I'm still going to have to do this. General conditions this time of year. It appeared there for a second. Okay. We're losing our darkness quickly now. The current daylight length is around about 14 hours, which means that that opportunities for observing are getting short. The summer solstice is at Christmas, but most of the changes happen around the equinoxes. So most of the growth of light we've had already. Sunset is about just after 8 p.m. tonight. Don't bother looking for anything until 9 o'clock. Next month, it's going to be about 8:40. So we're going to lose about half an hour of observing time by the next month. Sunrise is about 6 a.m. Again, stop observing at about 5. Next month, we're going to lose about 10 minutes over the next month because it's slightly, it's not quite symmetrical. It's like, oh dear. We are going backwards. What is going on? Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Right. Seeing conditions might start to deteriorate now. Now, the Bureau of Meteorology, they come up with predictions. They call them long-term, which is like 3 months. Their maximum temperatures are likely to be around about normal, but unusually high minimum temperatures are very likely for much of northern and eastern Australia. That's us. So our minimum temperatures are likely to be a bit on the warm side. Now, that's not great for astronomers. Now, this is where I have to use this machine. Oh, look, there you go. Okay, so this is the maximum and minimum. These are the maximums, and these are the minimum temperatures for Melbourne and for LMDSS, close enough to Redstale. So you'll notice that in winter, Redstale, the LMDSS gets an average minimum temperature of around about 3 degrees, which is nice and chilly. That's good for astronomy, not great for the astronomers, but it's good for astronomy. By Christmas, you'll notice that it's actually getting up to around about 10. So we've actually got 7 degrees, and in February we get even more. So in summer, the seeing conditions are not the best, shall we say, particularly for the planetary astronomers who are looking at really massive magnification, because the sun will just, well, the moon or whatever it is they're looking at, will just do this nice little shimmery dance, which is, look, on some nights, it's God's way of telling you not to bother with the scope. So now the other thing is this business about the jet stream. Now, if any of the planetary guys planetary people want to explain the jet stream to me, I would love it, because I did a little bit of research on it the last month, and oh my goodness, it's complicated. So yeah, I'll leave that to somebody else. Poor old young astronomers have been squashed to the very bottom of the thing today. Young astronomers, why do planets move in the sky? Do they always move in the same way, and why? And why not? Now, I realise that the third question has answered the second question, but that's all about understanding. And why I'm asking this, just wait a second. This month's moon. Now, this is one of Kate's photographs. I put it on appeal for her photographs, and I thought this was just a corker. Don't you love that cloud? And now, this was taken up at Sea Lake the other day. Oh, thanks. And up there is Venus, and there's the moon with its ashen light, but you can hardly see it. But just around about there is Mercury. Mercury put on a great show for us on the weekend. It was just fantastic. Anyway, getting back to the moon. The full moon is on Saturday the 16th of November. It's across to the north. I'm going to have to get my glasses for this, I'm afraid. It's across to the north for the on the 12th. So it's going to be low in the sky over the next week or two. It's a supermoon because we are close-ish to the perigee. I'm suddenly talking very loud. It rises at sunset and sets at sunrise, which means that it's poor viewing due to direct light. There's no point in looking at a full moon. It's just boring. You can view it all night and over the following week as a waning gibbous moon. Now, the last quarter is on Saturday the 23rd. It crosses to the south on the 25th, so it's going to start to get high in the sky. So you'll be looking at a moon fairly high. It rises at midnight, sets at noon, and over the following week, it's going to be a waning crescent. It's going to get thinner and harder to see as it approaches the sun, and it's going to start looking like that. You view it in the morning, then later in this week in the early afternoon. The apogee is the 26th. Now, from here on, I don't know if you remember the wobbly lines that I had going a couple of months ago, which I seem to have dropped because they're complicated. However, from here on, for at least a few months, the distance and the phase lines are out of sync, so we don't get supermoons and mini-moons for a while. The new moon, however, is on Sunday the 1st of December. It's not close to perigee or apogee, so I'm calling it a meh moon. It rises at sunrise, and it sets at sunset. Obviously, that's what new moons do. It's going to be a waxing crescent, looking like that again. It's very thin. We will be able to see it a few days after sunset, as this was. The first quarter is on Monday, the 9th of December. It rises at noon, sets at midnight, which is the best time for viewing the moon, and that's the reason why a lot of star parties are done at the first quarter. It crosses to the north again at about the same time, so it'll rise bang on the east, and then it'll go low in the sky for the next fortnight. And the perigee is on the 14th, which is after next meeting. Okay, so moving to the planets. Over the next month, this is from the ASV yearbook. Mercury is an evening object now, as you could see from the previous picture. It's in the west. It's out of the twilight and close to the greatest elongation. The greatest elongation is on the 16th. And look, you've got to go and see Mercury now. It's hard to see at the best times. This is the best time to see it. It sets at about 10 p.m. It's close to Antares, and it's magnitude -0.3, so which means it's bright as. Speaking of bright, Venus is even brighter. It's -4. It's an evening object further up, as you can see from the photograph. It sets at about 11:30, but Venus is dull as dishwater. The only interesting thing that Venus does is goes at a crescent, and it's gibbous now. So boring. So, okay. So I'm allowed to be harsh. Venus doesn't care. Mars is finally moving at about the same rate as the other planets. It rises at about 1:30. It's going to be stationary on December the 8th, and then it's going to move into retrograde. The opposition is mid-January 2025, so this is the time when Mars does its thing. It does it every 18 months or so, and so Mars opposition is when you want to be looking at it. It's great. Jupiter rises about 10:20. It's going to be consistently earlier until opposition, which is in December. It will continue to brighten noticeably, although it's already very bright, and it's, again, not far from Aldebaran. Saturn is almost past its prime now. It sets at about 3:30 a.m. Retrograde ends on, it ended on November the 16th. No, ends, there's another week. The rings are closing, which is going to be very interesting. That's happening in March 2025. So it's still in a good position for evening viewing, but it is going to get less bright. Now, it is the star of the show at the moment, particularly for the tours that are happening right now. I'm supposed to be out there. Uranus, the opposition is November the 17th. So it rises at sunset and sets at sunrise. So it's a good all-night viewing if you've got the right telescope. You're going to need a lot of magnification and probably aperture as well. It's ahead of Jupiter. It's not very far from the Pleiades. You'll probably see it later. Neptune is rising in the afternoon. It sets just before 4 a.m. It's most of the night. The retrograde ends on December the 8th, which means it's going to be dimming, although for Neptune and the outer planets, that brightening dimming cycle is fairly subtle. Pluto is rising during the day. It sets about 1:30 a.m., so it's now an evening object, and the opportunities for viewing are getting a little bit thin, but Pluto is Pluto. It's hard to find. Now, quick tangent. What's retrograde? Now, astronomers tend to look at the sky night after night, and the ancient astronomers certainly did. So background stars move night over night. They move from east to west. And now their right ascension coordinates remain fixed because, they're stars. That's what they do. Or moving is something that they don't do. Of course, there's precession, there's other things. But this is called sidereal motion. However, planets, generally speaking, they move in what we call prograde motion. That's most of the time. And they move slower towards the west than the background stars. So that means the stars are overtaking the planet. So when plotted against the stars, the planet appears to move eastwards. It's lagging behind. Their RA coordinates increase each day. However, during retrograde motion, that's about certainly a lot less than half the time, depending on which planet it is. The planets move faster towards the west than their background stars, which means the planets overtake the stars. Now, against the stars, the planet appears to move westwards, and the RA coordinate decreases day after day. Now, the ancient astronomers looked at that, and it turned their brains into a pretzel. They could not, for the life of us, figure out what they're doing. Now, here is Mars. Can we turn the lights off again? Because no? Yes, we can. Okay. I was just looking straight at that thing. I can't see anything. But this is what Mars is going to be doing over the next few months. As you can see, it does this big loop in the sky. So I'm going to find a thing that works. That one. Okay. So here, Mars is around about sort of here-ish now. By the way, this is Castor and Pollux here, so that'll give you an idea of where it is. So Mars is about here. It's in prograde, and when it comes to here, this is the 8th of December, and this is when it appears to be stationary. It stops and starts going back the other way. And then it moves in prograde. It's going to move back along here. And then when it gets to about here, this is opposition on the 16th of January. This is when it's closest and brightest. And this is where all the planetary astronomers lose their minds. And here is when it stops and it appears stationary again, and retrograde is finished, and it keeps on going back towards F in there. So that's what Mars is going to be doing over the next few months. So Retrograde is, I might have said this before, but retrograde motion is something that really stimulated the birth of modern science, because people looked at it and went, that breaks what I always thought planets were and what they did. And then they had to start reappraising their theories and stuff. So philosophy started. Okay, so let's get orientated for this for 10 p.m. The Southern Cross is nearly at 6 o'clock. You'll notice that it's about as far down as it gets, very, very low. So normally it's in the trees. Sometimes it's hard to find it. Get rid of that. Scorpius has also mostly set. These are my three road signs: the Crux, Scorpius, and Orion. So Orion is the first. It's the first time we've seen Orion this year at 10 p.m. So welcome, Orion. So now our orientation stars. It's a little bit like a cricket commentary here. I've got three people on the inner field and three people on the outfield. We've got Achernar, which is slightly southeast of the zenith, up there. There's definitely a donut warning there for people with Dobsonians. Fomalhaut is slightly west of the zenith. It's past the donut, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Canopus is lowish in the southeast, and that was easy one to find at Sea Lake last weekend. Altair is low on the west-northwest horizon, so that's just about to set. Sirius is rising in the east-southeast horizon, and Aldebaran is low in the east-northeast horizon. So these last two are coming into play. Altair is on its way out. It's getting subbed. Saturn, this is not specifically about stars. Saturn is past the meridian and it's very high. Venus is, you can just about hear it in the west. And Mercury has, well, Mercury, that's Mercury just there, just about gone. So it sets at 10. Right. Visual targets for this evening. This is again for 10 p.m. today, although you're not going to be seeing much because it's cloudy outside. Mercury, you're going to have to be quick because it's about to set. Then Venus is there, but like I said before, dull as dishwater. Saturn is still the star, although it's a planet, and that's past the meridian. Beta Tuc is a triple, and that's right on the meridian at the moment. It's not quite donut. It's not too close to the zenith for you to be able to have difficulty seeing. 47 Tuc is fairly close, and that's going to be the sort of thing you're going to need to see from a dark sky site because it's a little hard to see from the city. Sorry. P. Eridani is cat's eyes, which is a beautiful thing. You must see that if you can. It's very easy to find. It's right next to Achernar. Get Achernar in your finder scope, and you can see P. Eridani in the same view. Theta Eridani is another double. It's a little bit further out. It's they call it Acamar, not to be confused with Acamar. And now, if you're again in the dark sky site, LMDSS, the Tarantula Nebula is very easy to see. You won't need much in the way of magnification to be able to see it. It's very nice. Alpha Capricorni is an optical double. It's not actually in orbit around each other, but and it's also very wide. It's to be honest not my favourite, but it's not dramatically interesting to see. But I'm running it down. So it's a good little target to spot. The Andromeda Galaxy is something that everybody always wants to see, not because it's just going to can't scarily eat us, but it's safely in the north. It's got a very, very short viewing season, Andromeda. You only get about 3 months of decent viewing. So if you want to see it, you're going to need to get out, hopefully at the top of a mountain, certainly away from trees because it's very low. Sea Lake was a brilliant place to see it from. By the way, except for the clouds that were on the horizon. That's okay. Pleiades, always everyone's favourite, M45. It's on the way up, very wide open cluster. You're going to need a very, very long eyepiece to be able to get all of that in. Gamma Ariatis, last one I think, is Misatham. That's another double, which is very worth seeing. So okay, that's all of that. So now the photographic targets. This is when the visual people all walk out of the room, and the astrophotographers, well, they've been hiding at the back anyway. So because astrophotographers are all, without exception, boring people. So I can say that because I'm an astrophotographer. Okay, so we've got now these images. By the way, I've stolen shamelessly from the ASV Facebook page. These are the people who have shared the photographs with ASV members, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So, String of Pearl Galaxy, NGC 55, donut warning. It's dead straight up. Nice photograph from Oliver White. Thank you. The Southern Pinwheel Galaxy, again a donut warning. This is NGC 300, and I think that's, this is Diego's photograph, so it's probably several years old. Triangulum Galaxy, does anybody know somebody called Lee Green? Never heard of him? Okay, all right. That was, I think this is a couple of years old as well, Lee, isn't it? Okay, well, in that case, you're surprised you don't get trees in it, because this is another one which is fairly low. Andromeda Galaxy, even lower. Wyatt got this from LMDSS, I believe it was, just the other day. So this is newly on the website. Sorry? No, stop. Yeah. This is one of Russell's. It's NGC 1365 and some Fornax cluster. This is actually a one from last month as well, but I didn't get to talk about it very much. Don't you think the colours on that are amazing? So Russell's very good at this. It's also called the Propeller Galaxy for fairly obvious reasons. Large Magellanic Cloud and the Tarantula Nebula. The Tarantula is that mess in there. So you can easily see that with binoculars. And as you can see, this is a 50mm. I've cropped it slightly, but this is a 50mm camera shot that I got from Sea Lake last weekend. Helix Nebula. This is Gerald's photograph, and this is I think it's an HOO photograph, but yeah, it's very easily got at the moment, and it's just past the meridian. Pleiades. One of my presentations is not complete without an Eddie Pang photograph. Look at that. There's a lot of stuff around there. Sculptor Galaxy. This is a remote dome image. Sculptor Galaxy is very nice, and it's approaching the meridian now. Finally, 47 Tuck and the Small Magellanic Cloud. This is a Jeff Healy photograph, so that's always well worth getting to. I think that's it for photographic targets. So tomorrow morning, I'll just rattle through this really quickly because I'm getting a bit long. Get rid of that. Southern Cross is about 9 o'clock. You can see it's sort of moved from there all the way up to there in 7 or 8 hours. Yes, get rid of that. Orion has passed the meridian. The Scorpius is gone, and the planets are dispersing. We had a nice little cluster of them a few months ago. Saturn and Neptune have gone. They've now set. Uranus is still not far from the Pleiades. Jupiter is past the meridian, and Mars is starting to become the hero. It's coming up towards opposition. It's getting brighter, and it's going to be awesome. Okay, so final notes. These are random observations. 16th of November, Saturn retrograde ends. So it'll be stopped. Also the same day, Mercury is the greatest elongation, so that's your best time for viewing. 17th of November, the next day, Uranus is opposition, and yes, will we get a good look at Uranus? 26th of November, Mercury starts its retrograde. Mercury retrograde is weird, so and it's hardly matters. 30th of November is the ASV Starbecue, so everybody will be here, of course. Actually, no, they're up at LMDSS. The 6th of December, Mercury disappears underneath the sun. Now, okay, on the 8th of December, expect astrologers to lose their minds. Strap in. Jupiter opposition. Mars is stationary moving into retrograde. Neptune is stationary moving out of retrograde. Saturn occults the moon on that day. There's also a lunar X during the day at 1:36 in the morning, in the evening, so it's going to be like in the afternoon. And it's my wife's birthday. So astrologers are just going to go absolutely nuts. Please make friends with an astrologer. They are interesting people to talk to, but don't. Yeah. So there we go. Thank you. So we're done.